Do we really love ourselves? Do we really appreciate all of the parts of our being? This is the question that we are diving in today in The Art of Plenty. I'm Amy McInnes. Welcome back. I'm so glad you are here today. I have recently started a new practice around self-love that I can't wait to share with you today. But before we dive into that, let's tackle the question of, does it even matter if we love ourselves? I guess because I always start there. If it's something that I'm going to do, I want to know that it is something that I should be doing. I want to know that it matters. I don't want to just go through the rhythms. I have enough things in my life going on that I like to be deliberate about the practices that I'm putting into place because they need to mean something. I don't just want to be jumping through hoops. When I started mulling over that question, does it even matter if we love ourselves? Now, it sounds so obvious, yes, but the type of self-love that I'm talking about today isn't just this idea of, oh, I love myself, I'm going to take care of myself, but it's about appreciating all of the different parts of my physical body. So it's less about loving my mind. It's less about loving my personality or the things that make me creative and the things that I enjoy doing and aspects of who I am. It really is about physical for me. And the reason why I've been doing this lately is because I'm getting older and I've been through some significant things physically in the last 5 years, in the last 2 decades that have changed my body. And not every of the changes have necessarily been positive, right? Going through chemical menopause, going through cancer treatments, going through delivering babies and pregnancies. That's a lot of impact on the physical body. And it has changes that you don't necessarily want, just like aging does, right? Like there's new wrinkles or there's just different things that happen as we get older. There's gray hairs poking out. So even though I know that looks fade, there's a part of me that's still at this stage in my life, being in my early 40s, that I'm actually almost in my mid 40s. I don't know how you round, but it's a practice that I want to put into place now because I want my body to continue to serve me. So when I dive into, does it even matter if I love my physical body? And the first thing that comes to my mind, although not necessarily the most important, is around confidence. You see, when a person likes the way that they look, likes the way that their body moves, essentially loves their physical body, they are way more confident people. And confidence radiates from people. It adds to their charisma, and that in turn makes them more attractive to others. It has a way of opening doors for you when you're confident. It almost is one of those cycles where confidence builds competence, and competence therefore builds more confidence. And how confidence builds competence is when you are confident, you are willing to take risks, you are willing to try things, and when you try new things, you get better at things, and that increases your competency for doing things. And when you're competent, you feel more confident. So it's just this cycle that goes around and just gets bigger and better the more you go around. The second part of does this even matter is connected to rejection. And here's what I was thinking about. You know those circumstances in your life where you have been rejected by somebody for something that you didn't necessarily have any control over? Or maybe it is something that you had control over, but somebody has rejected you. You know that feeling of hurt and that feeling of letdown? Well, what if our body experiences that same feeling? Like, where does that rejection go? Because if anybody is supposed to love you, it's probably you. And when you don't, and when you actually negatively do the opposite of love, so like, I'm talking not just neutral, but when you get frustrated at your body for looking a certain way or moving a certain way, I can't help but feeling that on some level, we are experiencing rejection. To me, that's huge because I know how hard rejection is from others. I know how that physically wears on the body. And if I can avoid putting that on myself, it's something that I want to do. Now, I remember a long time ago, I had seen this research that was looking at water underneath a microscope. And it was so long ago that I can't remember where the study was, but I was thinking today, I got to look for that again. But they looked at water that was blessed versus water that was not blessed under the microscope. And the water that was blessed had these like beautiful crystals and looked alive under the microscope compared to water that had not been blessed, and it didn't have all of that same, it almost looked like snowflakes or crystallization in the substance of the water. The reason why I bring that forward is, what if the way that we talk about ourselves and the way that we express love towards ourselves actually has an impact on us at a cellular level? What if we're creating more opportunity for love in our body and therefore more opportunity for health and well-being in our souls? I can't say that that's exactly what happens, but when I think about that study on water, I think about it must be true. It must work in a similar way. You see, when people are blessed or praised or acknowledged for being wonderful, you can see that their countenance changes. And when your countenance changes, I can't help but think that there's other changes that are going on a deeper level and a cellular level. Now, the reason why I think that is because I know the body holds the score. I know in situations of trauma or illness that it finds a way into your bodies on a cellular level. We hold negative emotions that we don't get rid of. We hold them in our body. And when we don't release them or we don't address them or acknowledge them, they end up having a way of eating away at us and impacting our physical well-being. I remember hearing this stat that in the 90% is how much of illness comes from stress. And stress is an emotional thing because you only feel stress. It's not the situation, but it's how you feel about the situation that you're in and how you're managing the situation that you're in. And when you don't manage that stress appropriately or deal with it, it finds a way into your body and shows up in bizarre ways, like illness and sickness and pain and aches. So what if our body is holding on to all the self-rejection? What if the things that we are speaking to ourselves or thinking about ourselves, what if our body's keeping score of that too? And what if it's like the water and we do the opposite, if we can end up releasing health and well-being into ourselves? Okay, so those are the things, those are the reasons how come I'm diving into this and started this practice, because I think that there's something to this. I think that there's a way to love ourselves and bless ourselves that releases well-being throughout all of ourselves on a cellular level, which really matters to me now, as I said, because I'm aging and because of the things that I've been through. I want to be gracious to myself. I want to be accepting of myself and less intense about the changes that I've noticed. I want to be nurturing and I want to be gentle, because this is the only body I'm going to get. This is it. This lifetime, this is it. This is the body that I have. And I want to take care of it and I want to nurture it so that I'm putting it in the best space possible for well-being. Because when your physical body is compromised, it impacts your mental health and your well-being. There's no way of separating your emotional self, your cognitive self from your physical self, from your spirit. It's all one. So in order to have full well-being, all of those things have to be working together. So I wanted to share the actual practice of what I'm doing and what I've been doing for the last probably month, because it's kind of hard to explain. And I wanted to give you an example of what it can actually look like. I often do this first thing in the morning when I'm waking up. I'm not necessarily a morning person, but I have tried different morning practices that have been helpful. But I do like to lay in bed for a little bit, and this is a nice way to do that. Or I'll do it right before I fall asleep. I haven't necessarily done it at other times of the day, but I find there's a lot of things I try to jam into those moments before wake and those moments right before sleep and those moments right after wake. The other thing I will say is that repetition matters. Like anything worth doing, it's something that you have to continually do. You have to continually nurture. And I'm convinced that I won't see the effects right away. Even lifting weights. They say that when you start physically working out, it takes a month before you yourself even notice the changes in your body. And then it's a little while after that before the people who are closest to you notice the changes in your body. And then it's again a little bit after that before other people that you're in relationship with notice the changes in your body. So it takes time. And that's if you're consistently going to the gym, right? It's not like you do it once and then, a month later, you're like, oh, I noticed that muscle popping up. You're continually doing it. So this is that kind of a practice. This is the kind of practice that if you do it once, you're probably not going to see the benefit. It's something that you have to do on a regular basis, and it requires repetition. But of course, this is all experimental on my behalf because I don't know if anybody's ever researched this or what the change is or if the changes are even noticeable on a measurable basis. That's the really tricky part about studies like this. It would be completely subjective. But even that's enough. If you actually feel better about your body, that's enough. Okay, so the practice. I always start with my feet because it helps me to remember where I've been. And I typically work on the outside of my body, not necessarily on the inside, but I do that work on inside organs when I get up into my chest area where there's all my organs, essentially. But I don't think about like my arteries and my veins and my muscles and my bones, although you could definitely fit that in. I think it's because when I first started this practice, I was thinking, okay, this is going to sound vain. I was thinking about how I actually look and wanting to love myself. Not that I didn't love myself before, but just knowing that things had changed. So I start with my feet and I just say to myself in my head that I just love my toes. I love when I am working out, doing a deadlift. I love that I can feel that spread of my feet and I know that I'm balanced well because I can feel all my toes on the ground in my shoes. So I think about a part of my body and I say to that part of my body that I love it. And then I remind myself what it is about that part of my body that I appreciate. What has it done for me? I connect it to memories. I connect it to the way that I move. So then I go to the bottom of my feet and I think of all the wonderful places my feet take me. I think about walking and how it feels to walk on the grass at the beach or how it feels in the hot sand. And I feel thankful that I have feet that have taken me to so many places. And I think about my ankles and how in the past they've helped me be more expressive in dance and that they enable me to walk comfortably. And because of my feet, I can drive the car that I drive. And then I think about my legs, my calves, and my calf muscles, and I show appreciation for them. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see that my countenance has changed, because as I'm going through this process, in my mind, I can see pictures of different things I've done. I see myself jumping on a trampoline. I have a very happy memories related to jumping on trampolines. So I think about my calves, and I think about all the jumping I've done, and dance classes where I've needed calves. And I think about my shins and playing soccer when I was younger, because I always felt like my shins were getting kicked. And I'm thankful that they took that, because I got to play soccer and it was so fun. And then I think about my knees, and I'm thankful that my knees have worked as well as they have, and that I've been able to squat. And I remember playing basketball, and I'm thankful that my knees played basketball with me. Not that I was any good, I was terrible, but I had so much fun. And then I show appreciation for my thighs. I'm so thankful for my thighs, because I can squat and I can move and I can lift things, and it helps me do the things I need to do and take care of my family. Okay, here's a part that I don't necessarily love all the time, and it's my hamstrings. And here's why. They're short. And I don't mean in stature. I mean that my muscles are tight there, and I notice that it impacts my flexibility in things that I love to do, like Pilates and like dance. If you listened to my last podcast, you know how much I love Pilates. So I show appreciation that I have hamstrings, that my hamstrings have enabled me to do all of the things that I do. And that even in Pilates, I can see that they're working so hard to do the exercises. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that they're working hard, and they're working against the way that they are. They're pushing through, and they're growing, and they're changing to support me, because it's something that I love. So I'm thankful that my hamstrings are stretching and increasing in flexibility. And I'm thankful for my hips, because I used to put my babies on my hips, and that brings me so many memories. And my hips opened enough that I was able to have babies naturally. And that is a blessing. And I think about my butt, and that it makes my pants look better. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all of my muscles that are there that enable me to do the things that I do, because the leg and the butt muscles are such big, powerful muscles in the human body. And then I go inside at this point, because I'm thankful for my vagina. And this is another part that needs self-love after having babies and after getting older. And I just appreciate what that part of my body has done for me, how much joy it's brought me, and opportunity for connection. So I just express love and affection towards those areas. And then I think about my stomach. And when I think about my stomach, I don't just think about, my six pack, but all of those areas together, all of the muscles that have worked so hard, its ability to grow a baby. So I think about my uterus, and I just show appreciation for what it's done for me, and recognize that I've put a lot of stress and strain into it, and it's done good. It's done a good job with the challenges that it's had in my life. And I'm thankful for the healing that it's gone through, and the patience that it's had to repair, and all of the muscles that I use every day, all the time, are in your core. So I express gratitude towards that. And I express gratitude into my liver for cleaning out all of the toxins out of my body and working so hard so that I could be healthy. I don't go into my digestion. I don't know why. I don't necessarily go into my heart or my lungs, but I've been thinking, now that I've been doing this for a while, that might be something that I add to it. And just so you know, you can borrow any part of this meditation for yourself. I then go into my breasts, because those are areas that, they've just been tricky areas having cancer. So I just express love for what they've gone through, and that they've survived, how they've survived, and also for for being such an integral part of having newborns, being able to breastfeed and all of the changes that they've gone through in order that I could do those things and in order that I could survive cancer. So I express thankfulness for that. And then I express thankfulness for my hands and my ability to write, because I love to write and I love to create art with my hands. And I do most of my touching with my hands. So I'm thankful for my hands and my arms, that they're strong, that they can pick things up and that they can hold people tight. And my shoulders, because they've carried the weight. They've carried the weight in my life. And I often carry stress there. So they've had that burden. So I'm thankful for my shoulders. And I'm thankful for all of the backpacks I've carried in my life. All of the places that I've gone. And I don't mean backpacking, traveling. I mean even going to school and the things that I put on my back and the things that I carry so that we can do stuff as a family. I express gratitude to that. And then I express gratitude for my hair and that its ability to grow, its ability to change and come back and be healthy and be strong, and how much of my hair has been a part of my looks. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. One's easy because I've always liked my hair. So it's really easy to express love to it. It's gotten love my whole life, except for maybe when I was little and I would get those incredible knots. I typically have always expressed a lot of love for my hair. And even though I'm getting gray hair now, I have so much love and appreciation for it because it means I'm here. It means that I'm living long enough to actually have gray hair. And there's so much wisdom that comes with age. And to me, when I see those, I'm thinking, I'm gaining wisdom. I'm coming to a place where I've earned those gray hairs. I deserve those gray hairs because I'm becoming a wealth of wisdom in my life. And those gray hairs signify that wisdom that I'm growing and developing. I don't know that I've ever done my face. Isn't that funny? I have to think about that. But that's the practice that I do. And even the things like the hamstrings that are not necessarily things that I've loved about myself, I found ways to think about them in something that they've done that I've appreciated. So even if I don't like the way they look, there's something about them that they've done for me that I have loved and appreciated. And I focus on those while expressing love, while expressing gratitude. So that's it. That's my new self-love practice, my new practice around physically loving myself. Oh, one thing I do is also my ears. I forgot about that. And I express love towards my ears because they connect me to my family and it enables me to hear what's going on. They physically connect me to my family because ears are one of those genetic things where you can see family traits and you can see things coming down family lines, like whether or not you have earlobes. I hope you got something out of this today. I hope this spoke to you, and send me a DM if you've done anything like this practice or if you're going to give this practice a try. Better yet, send me a DM when you've implemented this practice and you start noticing changes. I know for myself, I feel like I'm carrying less disappointment about how I look or how I'm aging. And that feels like a wonderful win. I'm so glad you're here. If you are one of my faithful listeners but haven't hit subscribe, please do. Hit subscribe. Have yourself a truly fabulous day. This is The Art of Plenty.